Naked Truth. I'm Ramon Roan.
My name is John Singletary.
And today's topic we're going to be discussing is poverty and our children's education, particularly black children. Recently we had a oyster roast fundraiser for Concerned Citizens Alliance, and one of the former candidates for city council, right. A.J. Davis. Is that right? A.J. Davis, right? A.J. Davis, he works at Burke High School, and he said that 97% of the kids that are in this classroom, all black, they live underneath the poverty level. 97%. John, that's a staggering statistic.
Sure it is, it is. But I mean, it's not uncommon. When we take a look on the reverse at academic magnet. Right. And it's almost the exact opposite.
Right. Right. When I looked at it, and we had a very interesting conversation. It was a group of us, about 6 or 7 of us, an attorney there, a med school student was there, and we were talking about the importance of the education, but the barriers for a child to get a good education. But when we look at poverty, if a single parent is raising a child that's only making, let's say, minimum wage, and she may be on assistance, welfare, or whatever, those are the ones where the kids go lacking in parental attention.
Oh yeah, when we take a look at what goes on when it comes to education, they pay more for schools who are in areas that, charter schools for instance, if you are in a high tax area, you get more money. If you're in a low tax area, then you get less money, even though the school's not paying taxes.
Right.
That's one of the disparities. The quality of education has a direct correlation with the amount of money that's made within the community. You know, we talked about $24,000 a year for African Americans. $1,000 a year for those who are Caucasians in North Charleston. And when we take a look at, I keep mentioning the academic magnet because here was a black school that they took, then they fenced it so that you can't even get in the school. You have to go through the now predominantly white neighborhood to even access the school. When once upon a time, there were several accesses through the African American neighborhood.
Right.
But that is because we choose not to get engaged in the process that deals with jobs, contracts, through the city council meeting, through the CDBG meeting, through the finance meeting. We have to get engaged, and then we have to strengthen our voting base. That has a direct correlation to the quality of education that your child's going to receive. During the campaign, we talked about the fact that when we look at the national survey, how disproportionately South Carolina, particularly North Charleston, South Carolina, had more schools that were failing than any other state, any other city. But yet we're the third largest and the richest when it comes to retail sales in the state of South Carolina. There's not bad education all over in North Charleston because we have some schools that are rated at the top when it comes to
top in the country.
That's right, in the country, quality schools. It's only in certain areas. If you can do it in one, certainly you can do it in another.
I read this article called "The Study of Brain Scans May Show Impact of Poverty on Academic Achievement." It says less gray matter is in key areas of the brain could account for as much as 20% of the achievement gap between children living in poverty and those who are not, according to a new study. Now, in this study, it says that in 2015, a family of 4 with an income below $24,250 is considered living in poverty, We just told you that 24,000 is about the average in South Carolina, in North Charleston, South Carolina. So when Davis is concerned about the kids that are in class that are learning, them trying to learn, well, look at the home, because the teachers, they're limited. They only have that child for, a few hours a day, or let's say 8 hours in that day. But it's the home. So if the parents, when they go back home, and one, they don't get good nutrition, to where, like we were just talking about, a friend of yours that didn't even know how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know how to cook. So when they don't have proper nutrition, when they're coming home to where the mother is working 2 jobs just to make this $24,000, they don't have time to spend with their child.
Absolutely. When you got to work 2 jobs to try and make ends meet, it's totally different than when you work 1 job and then you have a lot of expendable income and a lot of expendable time.
Mm-hmm.
The PTA meetings, the extracurricular activities, the things that are over and above are based upon not what the person making $24,000 and working 2 jobs is doing, but on the person that works a 9 to 5, evenings off, weekends off, with some expendable income. That's what the involvement in the school is going to be based upon.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to go over and beyond, even if it means that we share and partner and alternate sometimes in order to be involved, but we have to show a commitment to be involved and engaged in the education process, the political process, the process of them governing us through the city council and that kind of thing.
Right.
We have to be engaged and committed to, again, even if we partner and share with other families.
Right, right. Well, we believe that there is a solution to this problem. Now, we know that back in the 60s that we created, that Lyndon Johnson created not created the war, but started the war on poverty. Mm-hmm. But we still have poverty, but you, the voter, have a say-so in the poverty that exists in your community. John, we knew that, and we're going to often refer to the mayoral election because those local elections are very important, but there's no reason why sitting out on an election and your community, the black community in particular, is making on average $24,000. That's poverty level. And so you have no excuse to say, well, I'm not going to vote because it's not going to change things. It can change. It changed in Atlanta. It changed in Washington, D.C. It can change here in North Charleston, and it can change wherever you are. Get out and be a part of the solution and not the problem, because as the old saying goes, if you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem.
And when we take a look at something as simple as when they say that there was a war on drugs, they made sure that it was successful. They locked up more of us than at any other time in history. Mm-hmm. But yet, when they say a war on poverty, somehow that fails. Somehow we're still stuck in the same rut, in the same situation
for the last 50 years.
That's right. So we're getting less than our fair share of the jobs, the contracts, local, federal, state. And so if there was a commitment to the war on poverty, like there was to the war on drugs, then we should be overachieving and making sure that people are being pulled out of poverty. But the problem is that poverty, just like being in jail, that's a business for someone. Mm-hmm. It's a lucrative business. There's profit in poverty. Mm-hmm. You realize in North Charleston, Charleston County, there's $30 million every month, $30 million that cycles through hands in the SNAP program in Charleston County. It's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And so it's profitable for someone. If they pull you out of poverty, that money goes away.
Goes away. Hold on, something else. If you are in poverty, guess what is going to, as Michelle Alexander said in her article, there's going to be more crime.
Of course,
There's
there's a
gonna be more
correlation.
crime.
There's a direct correlation.
And what happens when there's more crime? People get locked up, and guess what happens? There's going to be money cycled into that community because every person that's locked up, they get federal dollars.
Sure. Yeah.
So, in order
Roughly
for,
$60,000 a year to house a
Right.
prisoner in a federal penitentiary. And so what we take a look at is, it's just a cycle of siphoning money out of the federal government through poverty, through issues and areas that affect our lives on a daily basis, but yet the profit goes somewhere else.
so what we were looking at, and like I said, it was it was just mind-blowing to the fact that 97% of the students that are in class was below the poverty level, and that's a shame. And to where those kids, that's not a head start, John. You know,
Oh, no.
and those are living abilities. But what we have to do is to be engaged as you continue to listen to our videos, because we want you to be engaged and we want to educate you. That's part of our mission statement: to educate and self-empowerment. And if we can get you committed to being engaged in your community, go out and vote. Research the candidates that you're voting for. Don't just go ahead and vote for somebody named Boss Hogg just because of the fact that he's been the mayor for 21 years. Or just say that things can't change. It won't change if you do nothing. Well, we'd like to thank you again. John, you got anything else?
No, I think you said it all.
All right then. Well, we'd like to thank you again for watching an edition of The Naked Truth.